Welcome, my constant reader friends. I'm Tad, and this is Tad Reads Books and Stuff. All right, so we're at the end of March, and I did it. I finished the Mammoth March challenge of reading a book over 800 pages this month. Yes, The Shadow Rising by Robert Jordan. I finished it. We're going to talk about this in a minute. Also, we are continuing Murder Falcon. Yeah, so Graz from the GKBC and I do a bi-weekly series. We call it the Marvelous Team Up, where we read through graphic novels and then we talk about them. This series, Murder Falcon, we are being joined by Jay of the Faceless Book Review, and just watch the videos. They come out every 2 weeks. The next one will be probably like Wednesday. I like to do them Tuesday, Wednesday of this week coming. We will be doing the next 2 chapters in Murder Falcon, so look out for that one. And now for my April TBR. So I'm going to continue with a couple series that I've already started this year. I'm going to be continuing with The Last King of Osten-Ard. Of course, this is Empire of Grass by Tad Williams. Wow, this is book 2 of the series, and I just freaking love this cover. This cover is beautiful. You know, it's got that soft feel to it. Y'all know I love Tad Williams, and I can't wait to get back into this series and Osten-Ard and see what happens next. This is a big book though, so it's going to take me probably, if I push it, I could maybe read it in a week, but I think I'm going to take my time with this a little bit. It's going to take me 2 weeks to read this. In between there, so next week I won't have a book finished to talk about. I am going to do my question and answer video that I talked about just a little while ago. I have 3 subscribers so far that have actually asked me a couple questions each, so that's great. Got a couple questions in there, but if you would like to ask me some questions, again, I'm an open book. You can ask me whatever question you want. We'll have, I guess, another week to make a comment on that video, and I will add your questions to that video. So look for that next week while I'm reading this. Also in April, I'd like to get back to some nonfiction. I'm going to read Apollo 8. I showed this off in a book haul, maybe a year ago. I don't know. The thrilling story of the first mission to the moon by Jeffrey Kluger. Yeah, it's got some cool pictures in here. See if I can find some here for you of this space mission, Apollo 8. And so I can't wait to dive into that. I'd like to read some more nonfiction this year than I have in the last 2 years. Also, I want to continue with the Peripheral series. William Gibson, this is book 2 in that series. You can go back and check out my video on Peripheral. This is Agency, and I can't wait to get back into this world and see where this goes. I'm a big William Gibson fan. All right, so that's April. That's not a lot. That's only 3 books in April. Who knows? I might throw something else in there. I don't know, but probably not. So let's get on to our discussion on The Shadow Rising. So The Shadow Rising is, of course, by Robert Jordan, and it's book 4 in the Wheel of Time series. This was originally published in September of 1992. My version, this pocketbook version, has 981 pages. So yes, over the 800 that I needed to read. On Goodreads, it currently has a 4.28, and I gave it 4 stars. So that's telling you something right there, because if you recall, this series, of course, starts with The Eye of the World. This was book 1, and I did not like it that much. I mean, I appreciated it. I could see maybe some intrinsic value in there, but it just didn't grab me. I didn't really like it that much. So I did go ahead and read the book 2, The Great Hunt. I love these covers. These covers are cool, but they're not really representative of how I picture this as I read it. I picture it more dark and more gritty than these covers, these beautiful high art type of fantasy artistry. But this was book 2. Again, I didn't like it, but I did like it a little bit more than book 1. So at this point is when I heard about the TV series was going to be coming, and that the first season was going to be book 1 and maybe some of book 2, and then series 2 would be book 2, season 2 would be book 2 and some of book 3. So I thought, well, at least I'm going to read it because I would like to check out the TV series. Read it, again, just a smidge better than book 1. And then I read book 3 because of the TV series, The Dragon Reborn. And again, not my favorite high fantasy type of novel, but better than book 2. Yes, and I needed a book over 800 pages, and that's why I decided to read The Shadow Rising, book 4 in the series. Now, I did do a little research on this before I started, and what I was reading was, I mean, overwhelmingly, people were saying that this is the best book of the series, and consequently their favorite book of the series. And so I had some hope when I started reading this 2 weeks ago. And as you know, I just said I gave it 4 stars. Yeah, it was absolutely, by far, the best book in the series so far. So, what is it? Well, I'm not going to talk too much about the specifics of this book like I sometimes do in my videos, because there are literally hundreds of videos out there on each book of this series, the Wheel of Time series. Specifically, of course, Daniel Green and Mike's books reviews. Check those 2 channels out and look this up if you really want a more in-depth review of the story and where it's going and things like that. I will tell you that, yeah, it's just a continuation, and it's got all the characters from the first 3 books. Of course, we've got Rand. He's the Dragon Reborn. This is the savior. But along with saving this world is going to be a lot of death and destruction. And because he can channel, he can do magic, men in this world very infrequently can do magic. It's mostly reserved for females, the women of this world. Rand is one of them that can. Usually, if the women find a man that can channel, they basically cut his balls off and still him and make it, or just kill him. Because they're kind of afraid of this prophecy that this man who can channel will become the Dragon Reborn and will change the world, really make it better, but in the process, again, tons of death and destruction. And by channeling, a man will eventually go crazy and die, kill himself, kill a bunch of people. So there have been false Dragon Reborns in the future or in the past, and that's really what these women are afraid of. But it seems that Rand is actually the real deal, is the real Dragon Reborn. So that's the main focus, I guess, of the series. But, you know, like most high fantasy, there's a ton of characters and they split off and they do different adventures along the way. And that, of course, happens here. So we've got Rand, we've got Egwene. Egwene was his love of his life because they grew up together as kids. But Egwene has become an accepted or a part of the Aes Sedai, which is the like conclave or the association of women that can channel and do magic. They reside in the White Tower. But anyways, she has become a sister. So she's training to become an Aes Sedai. And she finds out through that, they all learn of Rand and his future. And she decides that she can no longer be betrothed to him or become his wife, because she's going to dedicate her life to the Aes Sedai. And of course, he's going to eventually become mad, go crazy, and end the world or start the world over again. We'll see. And in this book, she's not really featured that much. She's in it, of course, but she's not a main character as maybe she wasn't as much as she was in the first three books. We've got Nynaeve. Nynaeve is another friend of theirs. These five characters that I'm telling first are all from this same area. They all grew up together. They're all about the same age, except Nynaeve. Nynaeve's a little older, but they all came from this place called the Two Rivers. And Nynaeve was the wisdom in this town. She was like, the midwife, kind of the witchy woman, the woman that does some healing and was a leader kind of, and was respected in the community. But now she also has traveled with them and has become an accepted and is training to be an Aes Sedai as well. I have to tell you, Nynaeve is a royal bitch. I can't stand Nynaeve. She is just mean. She's like a mean girl. She's rude. She's violent. She's viciously rude to people. Almost everyone that ever opens her mouth and tries to talk to Nynaeve, she takes as an affront to her. She becomes very aggressive and offensive, but I think it's because she's being defensive, you know what I mean? And she's just a horrible, I hate her. But a lot of people love her in the story. I don't. Hopefully her arc will change and she'll become more likable. I don't know, but I know. Anyways, then we have Perrin. Again, these are all friends. Perrin has become the wolf man. He has gold eyes now. He had an interaction with a werewolf and has become kind of a wolf man. And this book is really Perrin centric. A lot of the story is Perrin and his journey actually back to Two Rivers, and he becomes really the hero. He becomes a hero of Two Rivers and a leader, and he doesn't want that. He's originally just a blacksmith, and he keeps saying, I'm just a blacksmith. I'm no leader. Well, he's become one. Events have forced him into this role, and he's becoming it. Really good. Perrin wasn't as focused in the first three books. I'm glad they gave him more focus in this book because he's really become one of my favorite characters. Then we've got Matt. Last we have Matt. Matt, I don't know what to say, Matt. We don't really know his place in this right now. He's kind of the kid of the group. I mean, mentally, he just wants to drink and gamble and have women and party and have a good time. But things have happened to him gradually, and we see his character building in the series from what I've read. People love Matt. Matt is one of the favorite characters in the series. Hopefully I'll see why, because right now I really don't see why. But those are the five. That's the group of all these young people from the Two Rivers area that are the focus throughout the book. Of course, like standard fantasy, they all split up, they go on their different adventures, they come back together, things like that. Also, we have Moraine. She's the head Aes Sedai in the group. She's kind of like the Gandalf character, the magic doer that is leading this troop of people to save the world or whatever. There's Lan. Lan is her warder, is her protector. Lan, of course, is in love with Moraine, but not like that. He's in love with Nynaeve. Nynaeve have developed some type of relationship. Again, Lan was not focused very much in this book at all. Neither really was Moraine. There's Elaine. Elaine is a friend of Egwene and Nynaeve. They met in the training as accepteds, and Elaine actually is a princess from another land, and she's an accepted as well. And now she is in love with Rand, and Egwene goes with Elaine to Rand and tells Rand, I can't love you anymore. I don't love you anymore. I love you, of course, as a friend, and we grew up together, but not like that. And she leaves and leaves Elaine standing there, and Elaine bears her love to Rand, and now Rand and her are kind of a thing, but kind of not, because Rand likes every woman in this world apparently loves Rand, is in love with Rand, so he's got a lot of options, but we'll see what happens with that. There's Tom. He's a gleeman. He tells stories and sings. He's kind of like a bard, but is he? He knows Elaine from when she was a kid, and there's something going on there. Loyal, he's an Ogier. He's like this giant, kind of like a troll, but he's ancient. He's not ancient. He's only 100-some years old, which in his society, they live for hundreds of years. So he's still kind of young. So he kind of fits in with these people, but he's a reader. He loves to read. He's writing a book. He's going to write this whole story down, this whole adventure. He's a great character, really nice guy. We've got Faile. Faile is a woman that is, again, she's kind of a fighter, but we learn that she's also a princess from another land. She hooks up with Perrin. They eventually get married in this book. Another whole story. You see where I'm going here. We've got the Swan. She's the Amerlin seat, but then she's not, because I've just been talking, and that's just several, a group of characters. These are probably the main characters, but there's tons of characters in this book. One of the downsides so far of the book. But all right, let me just talk of my feelings of this book. I'm just trying to explain to you, there are so many people, so many storylines going on. And that's one of the issues I had with the first three books. It was almost like, vomiting, the story was vomiting from his Robert Jordan's mouth. And maybe I've read some about the publishing issues, trying to get these published, and maybe he just tried to get it all out as quick as he can, and a 3-book deal. I don't know, but it was too disjointed for me. But this book, he kind of like steps back and takes a breath, and now he's, I guess, developed this world, but he even does more world building in this book. So it lets the reader breathe. It lets the reader relax and enjoy reading the story. It's much more balanced. It's more focused, each individual story. The reading, is more relaxed. Again, you can just sit back and enjoy the story as it unfolds much more in this book than the 3 previous books. For me, anyways. I really liked it. Now, again, there are still some issues with Robert Jordan, for me anyways. I don't really like his writing style that much, but it's growing on me. Thus, the easy of read. Now, I've been in this world. I've been in Robert Jordan's mind for 3 books. So now I was more comfortable myself reading this book, of course. So that helps. But he still, he does some things. He just sometimes, again, still vomits at the mouth and gives way too much information. The book doesn't have to be this big for sure. But I still enjoyed it. I do like a thick fantasy novel. So it was okay, much better than the first three. But he still, for instance, there's a place where the Swan and this other Aes Sedai have now, there was a coup in the White Tower, and the Swan was kicked out of her position as the Amaryllis seat, the leader, and she was stilled. They took her powers from her. But anyways, she's in a cell, and Min, another character, sneaks into the White Tower and gets a key and unlocks the door of the cell. There's a coup going on. There's fighting, people dying. And she opens up the cell door to rescue the Swan and this other Aes Sedai. And then they stand there talking and discussing what's going on for page after page after page. It's not realistic. You would get the hell out of there. Am I? Wouldn't you? Let's get the hell out of here. No, let's debate it for 30 minutes or something like that. Let's take our time and discuss, what's going on and what we need to do to get out. Oh my God, it drove me crazy. But that's just one example. It happens several times in the book. It still does. It did in the first three. And it just kind of pulls me out of the story as I'm reading, because I'm like, come on. Oh, I even do this sometimes when I'm reading. I'm like, what the hell is he doing? This is not realistic. This would not happen. I know it's a fantasy world. Nothing's realistic, but you know what I'm saying? That drives me crazy with Robert Jordan. And he does it throughout the book. But much better book. I'm not giving it any away. Like I said, check out some other channels. You can go on YouTube. Again, there's hundreds, probably thousands of reviews of this book. So I'm not going to go too much in depth into the story, but I just want to give you my feelings of the book so far. And the number one feeling is, now it makes me want to continue reading the series. So, yeah. I don't know when that'll be, but I guess I'm kind of into it now. So, but that's a good thing, right? Another decent book, good book that I enjoyed, and I'm, interested in continuing. So, anyways, that's it. The Shadow Rising by Robert Jordan. So, as usual, if you find any entertaining value in my videos, please like, please subscribe, and please leave me comments. I love reading the comments. So until next time, peace out.